I think the gardening, I've gotten into gardening a lot, working with my hands on, and like where we're sitting right here, it used to be a mud hole. Do you remember when it was a mud hole? And it's kind of a nice spot now. And finally quiet for us.
Yeah.
You were confident that it would be quiet. I wasn't. Mother was a peasant farm girl who beat the shit out of her kids. I mean, and it was clear that you do this and what you're gonna get whopped, and you know, and so, and then the Catholic Church schools, they have their own. I mean, when the nun does the little clicker left over from Halloween, that means you genuflect. And everybody genuflects and everybody kind of. I mean, they're just. I mean, you're on the racetrack and a mafia guy comes into when you're saddling a horse and tells you the big boys are not. Or have betting on another horse in this race, and we don't want you to let your horse run and win. And my trainer said, I'm going after the guy down the track with the binoculars, and I get tackled by my trainer. He said, "Hey man, you can do that here." He said, "Well, you get your ass killed." He said, "We're not going to run that horse. We'll pick it another day. And that's it. He ain't running that horse." Hey, he was right. I mean, you know, the world, I mean, I'd leave the racehorse business thinking going into education is going to be, they don't do stuff like that. Come in, give me a break. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, people, you know, my father used to say, he says, one thing you gotta learn in your life. He said, you gotta know when somebody's peeing on your leg. I don't know, I didn't know about peeing. What are you talking about? Well, people are gonna con you. You gotta know your back, your neck stands up. Yeah, don't take that deal. Don't get involved in that. You got to know that. It's got to be intuitive. And to have survived the racehorse scene, the hippie scene. I mean, I'm not. I want to make a statement right now that may turn my children totally against me. I've dropped LSD about 400 times, and that may well be why I'm as fucked up as I am and different as I am, but I don't think so. I think it was helpful. Wake up and smell the roses. I don't do drugs now. I don't smoke. I don't espresso coffee is the biggie. I'm 72, and I get up and nothing hurts. Well, I look at the mirror and say, "Thank you, dear Lord, for another day." And it's day by day in the middle of the Pacific, and hopefully the news on the Coconut Wireless is positive. And I had a wonderful teaching experience through all levels, and especially I came to Maui from teaching at the Alston Community College. Malia, my wife from Connecticut, who had changed her name from Mary to Malia, which is daughter of the ocean. It means it's Mary, and Malia is Mary in Hawaiian language. And she got a job at the college, and there was no job for me at the college. And the best I could find in the teaching thing was public school, 7th grade, science at Lahaina Intermediate, put in about 7 or 8 years, got elected as the union representative for the teachers, and I had a very good experience, and I really learned how, in order to be a good teacher, you got to really listen to and get to know who you're working with, and you can't take the stuff that people say personal. You got to just take it, get it in, process it, and I was a very good 7th grade teacher. I had to re-socialize myself, and it wasn't a pushed step down. It was like a new situation. There was multi-ethnic. I'd never been in a multi-ethnic environment. I thought when I went to school with blacks and Hispanics at the Catholic school was diversity. This was Filipino, Tongan, Hawaiian, part Hawaiian, Portuguese, Haoles of every type, the Chinese, Koreans, and everybody's got a point of view. And I learned a lot from that experience. And right now, when I go back to it's really weird, because when I fly 7.5 hours from Maui to the DFW in Dallas airport, first thing I say, 5:30 in the morning, oh my God, there's so many white people here. And I'll be honest, I'm much more comfortable in a multi-ethnic environment where all minorities, it's all coalition politics, no matter what you say. And people, their tribe's important, and your loyalties are, people that, the Irish celebrate go up to Mulligan's when he has a big celebration for St. Patrick's Day, and every ethnic group in the world comes there because it's great music, great food, and a good dance floor. And what else can you want? And I'm a lucky guy, and I owe a lot to my mother and my father, but I owe a lot to my mother. I learned to tell jokes in Pidgin. That was when everything went to hell, and there was a big conflict. I started telling jokes in Pidgin, and most of the kids would break up, and the guys that were really huffy and taking it personal, they wouldn't get the joke. And then I just say to their friends, hey, why don't you tell them what the joke is, And they'd oh, is that what you meant? And it's diffused. If you're laughing, and that's why I think some of the comedians, on that really are funny, they are sometimes talking about some really difficult things to talk about. But if you're laughing, and you can get the humor of it and get the absurdity of it, then that's going to help you really understand where somebody's coming from or not coming from or whatever, And I think that's one of some of the comedians in Hawaii who are. There's one Portuguese guy,
Frank de Lima,
who says things about the Japanese and the Filipinos and and all of these kind of things. And he is a hoot. I mean, his X-rated, triple X-rated show, you'll pee in your pants. But he takes the show on the road, cleans it up, and does the same thing in the 8th grade. And he has them in his hands and doesn't say a cuss word or doesn't talk, it cleans it up. But he understands and he knows, and they know. And they know what is their gigs, and and they're funny, and he's been around. He's probably the best ambassador for multicultural relationships in the school system, and he does this gig throughout the school system over a long period of time. And you gotta laugh at yourself. I'm sure that my kids, my kids watching this, I bet you having a hoot about who is this? Is this my father over here talking?